Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world right now. Welcome to tonight's training webinar, Tuesday night every week webinar. Today we've got another very special guest for you. We'll be putting you on with him very, very shortly. Just wanted to basically say congratulations to the 9 people this week who went Power Distributor. In fact, 7 of them actually did it within their first 15 days, and 1 person did it within 36 hours. So very well done to them. I haven't really got the time to be naming them all, but very well done. We've got people in Russia, in Taiwan, in the Philippines, and one in Hungary and one in Italy as well, which is brilliant to see. So yeah, well done, guys. Keep going, as I say. Try and go for those 15 days. Teach your team to get it within 15 days, and you could be global yourself with it within 90 days and pick up that amazing $2,000 bonus that got announced not so long ago. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to put you on to Mr. Ormond Curl. Ormond, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
And I just wanted to make an observation. What we're going to do today, this objection training, is definitely one of the more mature trainings that we're going to do. But what I want to do is, first of all, suggest very strongly that any of you that are able to get to the event at the end of November, 1st of December, that's being conducted in the UK, my suggestion is that you get there. And the reason I'm saying that is that the training that you're getting on these calls are great, but it's nothing like face-to-face, and they're going to train everything that we're training on these and more. You got to imagine that we have, what, 9 power distributors to go within 15 days, and unless they had experience in network marketing before, what I'm going to show you today or coach you on today, they never heard. So the whole thing is about passion, and the whole thing is about not making this more complicated than what it should be. Now, remember what our mantra is as a company. What we do is we give away a free product, and then what we do is we build a team by teaching others to give away free products as well. So teaching others to teach is really what we do, and that's how you create duplication. So that's why we're having this training today, because we don't want you to get frustrated running into a certain number of objections. Now, and I'm just kind of looking at my notes here. What I'm going to do with this training is I'm more than likely going to stick to the notes, because objection handling is what I consider to be the meat of this business. It's the typically the leaders are the ones that's going to be doing this, because if you heard Alan Platt's amazing training last week, you don't say a whole lot. You put the person, first of all, on a 7-minute video. You have them look at that. Then you have them install the Sherlock on their computer, and then you have them listen to or look at a 23-minute video there. And once they've done that, then you get them in touch with your upline and do a 3-way call. So during that period of time, if an objection comes up that you know you can't handle, then you get your upline on a 3-way call. So what I'm actually going to be training on here is the next steps. I mean, when you get to be a power distributor, a global power distributor, each and every one of you on this Wednesday evening are desirous of getting to that point. So that's what I want to do today. But let me just share a little bit about this. First of all, it's like the man said, if you've only got one tool in your toolbox and that's a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And that's a difficult position to find yourself in, because the one thing that you want to be in handling objections is you want to be listening extremely carefully. So what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much just going to go through and read the slides and see if we can't get this thing done in a relatively a short period of time. The first skill of positive response to objections. There are 3 things you must embrace if you are to become a master at positively responding to objections. The first thing is to know that you are going to get objections. The first thing is that you got to be aware that they're going to come. I mean, don't feel like, hey, wow, this isn't going to happen. And the thing I'm going to say to each and every one of you, if you're getting the same objection often, if somebody keeps saying, I don't have the money, or something of that nature, then it's more than likely something that you're saying or not saying during your presentation that's causing that person to have that concern on that objection. Accepting this upfront helps you to anticipate and be prepared for objections when they arise. So don't be surprised when they come. They're going to come. If you're presenting, you're going to get some objections. Secondly, you will get many different types of objections and many different reasons. Now, typically we get objections on time, on people, and on resources or money. And those are the three most important aspects of this business: time, people, and resources. So we're going into more detail on that. And the third is that objections help you to move closer to sponsoring. Okay, let's get down into the meat of this thing. Step one is that you have to receive the objection. And the one thing that I'm going to say here is that nodding your head is near the end here. And what I want each of you to do is practice nodding your head up and down. What we always coach people to do when you're presenting, all you got to do, guys, if you've got Simon Brookes doing all the work on the video and your upline is doing the three-way for you, at least you could be doing is nodding your head up and down and smiling. We said nodding your nodder and grinning your grinner is what position you want to find yourself in. And it goes on to say, and if you are going to change the prospect's mind and counter their objections, though you may disagree with them, you must first respect and acknowledge their right to a contrary opinion. Now that's extremely important. They've got a contrary opinion. Don't get angry about that. This is done by showing genuine concern and interest on your face as you listen intently. And guys, I'm just telling you, nod your head in an understanding way as your prospect gives you their objection. Now, what you've got to resist, and this is extremely important, resist the temptation of being defensive or to argue. So many times we know what we've got. We know it's an amazing technology, and if somebody's pushing back on us and they say, I saw one of these last week, and you say, no, you couldn't have. So immediately you jump on the defensive, and you don't want to do that. Let them finish what they're saying. Complete their sentence. Be patient and don't interrupt or cut them off. Let them finish. I want that. If nothing else gets into you, let them finish. Take notes if you have to. Just take notes while they're talking so you've got it. And then you can share that with your upline when you do the three-way if they've got an objection that you can't handle yourself. If you get defensive, rude, or cut them off in the middle of their sentence, they will get defensive and feel disrespected. Then nobody wins. And I can look back on my early days in this business, and I can guarantee you that I chased a lot of people away just by the way I handled the objections when they come up with it. And again, sometimes we have to go to remedial courses and get it over again, because even now, because I know what we've got and I know nobody else has it, I might jump to the defense pretty quick, and you just have to wait and let people process what they're asking you. And finally, on this slide, remember, you can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Patience and great listening skills are virtues in this business. Great listening skills, as you're going to find out, even when your team. Now, some of these objections, guys, you're not just going to get it from people that are getting engaged in your business. You're going to get objections from your team. They're going to come at you with some objections, and you've got to be able to use these same principles dealing with your team, because that's going to create growth in your team. Step 2, simplify the objection. You must completely realize that the prospect's true concerns before you can understand why they feel as they do. Failing to do so will cause you to address irrelevant issues and will convey confusion and lack of understanding on your part. To make certain you totally understand their objection and to express your desire to truly understand their concerns, ask the prospect a clarifying question or two. Now, here are a couple of questions that I feel really work extremely well for me. And a person says, I don't have time. And your response might be, why do you feel you wouldn't have enough time? It's not anything hard. What is it that the person perceives might take up so much time in this business? And they might say, well, I'm already working full time, and I could just hear by virtue of what you've said so far that you're probably putting about 25 or 30 hours a week into this thing, and I don't have 25 or 30 hours a week. And you just have to explain to them that, hey, what we're talking about initially getting engaged in this, we're looking at 10 to 12 hours of productive time that I'm going to coach you on how to use that time effectively so that you can build your business. So again, it's just hearing exactly what they're saying about the time. it might say something like, I had a relative of mine that was involved in a network marketing business before, and they were spending 60, 70 hours a week doing that thing. And so you just have to find out where they're coming from, where they're getting their past history from. The next is, I need to talk to my spouse. I must have heard that, if not once, a million times. You know, and so you ask them, well, which part would you most like to talk to your spouse about? And I mean, that's a great question, because they'll say, well, you know, I just needed to talk to her about you know, how much she feels that we would actually use this. So I need to find out a little bit more about the pay plan, or a little bit more about that $249 and that type of thing. So now you've narrowed it down to, is it about the money? Is it about the $249? Or is it about something else? Because if it's about the $249, you can certainly handle that by showing the value and indicating that in many instances, you know, most of us realize this, that, you know, I had a gentleman just last night do a call here in the States, and he saved somebody $600 on an auto part. So we're talking $249. That leaves him $301 of profit based on that savings that they had just by using the Sherlock. So there's a number of ways to go about this thing. The next is, I don't know anyone. And, you know, the person, all three of these that I've shown you here, I don't have time, you know, I got to talk to my spouse, I don't know anyone. These are extremely common objections, and very easy to overcome, by the way. Do you think you would need to know people to be successful in this business? Now, that might sound like a crazy question, but I happened to be on a training that Fraser Brookes did about maybe 3 weeks ago on Facebook ads. And, you know, you really don't need to know anybody to run a Facebook ad. You know, you can literally have people, we had a gentleman with the Genie before we changed the name to Sherlock, that put 30,000 of those Genies on people's computers and didn't know anybody. He was working right out of his house. So it's really, you don't have to have a wealth of a list of people to be successful in this business. Just ask the right questions and answer them correctly, and you'll get this thing done. Step 3, test the boomerang. Now, I love this part. You know, the question that most of us use a lot, and all of us have been trained on, and you'll hear it at the event in November, December there. Feel, felt, found. You know, I know how you feel. I felt the same way, and this is what I found. You know, I know how you feel. When I first got started in this business, I felt like it was going to take me 20 hours a week. I got it done in 15. But what I found is I made more money. I invested more time in it, and I was able to walk away from my full-time job. So now I'm doing this full-time. And those are the ways that you answer the feel, felt, found. Now, what I've done is, what we've done in the past is we've had like local areas where we have people come. If we run ads or something of that nature, we might have a luncheon for people to come to, or maybe during their lunch hour, they just come in and see the presentation. And what I like to do is kind of get people, find out who's real and who's Memorex, more or less. And so I like to ask this question, and I say it this way: if I like you and you like what we discuss, are you prepared to get started today? And so the person that's sitting there has got to make a decision. Now, if we get through this thing, I mean, I'm going to have to say yes. And so what they'll typically do is they'll say, well, I discuss everything with my wife before I make a decision, or I discuss everything with my husband before I make a decision. And what I will typically say to that person, if there's 4 people in the room, you know, I may not say it this way, but if it's one person and I'm doing a one-on-one, I'll say to them, well, when do you think your spouse might be available? And they'll say, well, on Tuesday night. I say, okay, well, let's set up Tuesday night where you and I and she or he can do this together. And so what did I just do? I just cleared up 45 minutes for myself, not showing that person the presentation. And it really works, because then you can go home with, I mean, you can go to their home or go wherever you're going to meet, be with the both of them, and typically once you've made that second step like that, they get involved in your business. But if what you do is you go through with the presentation, and now the husband or the wife has seen the entire presentation, they go home to a curious spouse, and the spouse is going to be all against this thing, so you're right back where you started. So all I'm saying to each of you is you can use that question to be able to calibrate who you've got sitting in front of you. Okay, now, other questions that you might ask begin with, if I could, blank, would you? if you knew blank, would you? Let me give you a couple examples of that. And that's why I put this on a slide presentation, so you've got it, so you can go over this and kind of study these responses. If I could show you how to build a successful business that paid you a serious income, something like 8,000 pounds a month, 5,000 pounds a month, whatever the number is. Typically, when you're talking to people, and the way we do an 8-question close, we say, what did you enjoy most about what you've seen thus far? And they say, well, I really like the giving away the free product. And well, remind me again what it is that you do. And then they tell you about their profession. And you say, well, doing something like this, what would you anticipate earning on a weekly or monthly basis? And then they'll give you a number, and you'll ask them, well, do you have any other part-time income coming in? And then they'll tell you what else they've got. So what you've got is you've already got a number that this person's given to you. I want to make $500 a week, $2,000 a month, okay? So you've got the $2,000, so then you can put the $2,000 in there and just kind of preach back to them what they've said. And the key thing here is not take a single minute of quality time out of your life. Would you be interested in moving forward? Now, some of you on the telephone, on the webinar, are probably saying, well, how in the world are you not going to take a minute of quality time out of their life? What we're talking about is taking that remote control time away from them, you know, where they're sitting up there looking at the boob tube, or, you know, just looking at that TV, and possibly, who knows, giving up a golf game or two during the week, or something of that nature. Guys, I'm just telling you, you know, quality time is time that you're building for your family's future. And so that's what quality time usually turns out to be in this business. Next is, if you knew your spouse was excited and behind you 100%, would you consider moving forward? You know, and the person would probably say, yes, of course. And so what you've done is you've addressed their issues. The boomerang should show that you are genuinely curious. It should not come off as being pushy or as if you are trying to close a prospect. And that's why I used to do a training on closing, and I stopped doing that because people would say, okay, it's time to get to the close, and I don't know if you've ever been to a timeshare presentation or something of that nature, where you just go there to get the free gift. And so you talk to the first person and you get through with them, and then the second person comes and they give you a little lower price on the timeshare, and I don't know if they've got those in the UK, but in the United States, boy, I hate those things, but I love the gifts. And then the third thing is that they bring in the big honcho, the big closer, and he or she comes in and really closes you, you know, and gives you the best price available and puts all the hard tactics on you, and it's a tough business, but you know, they get it done, but it's a rough way to do business, and we don't want to come off that way. You know, we don't want the three-way call to be, oh, yeah, okay, they're giving me to the big guy now, he's going to try to close me. But all we're doing during this whole process with the three-way call and all of this is gathering information so that we can help the person to make a decision. And I'm going to get to you why that's so important a little bit later on. Okay, show the documentation. You've heard the saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Show them Simon Brookes. I mean, show them Fraser's lifestyle. You know, show them the cars, the homes. You're going to have more people, obviously, with 9 power distributors turning in 15 days. I mean, you can talk to them about that. Here's a country that doesn't even have the Sherlock in their language, and they've got, you know, 9 power distributors turning in 15 days. I mean, that's amazing. My guys are going to hear about that one for sure. So I'm just saying that, you know, you've got the documentation, you've got the information to share with these people. Can I do this in 15 days? Can you read English? You know, we got people, you don't want to say it that way, but we've got people that are in the Philippines and Taiwan. They don't even have it in their language. In one of those cities, they've got one person that speaks English, and these guys are popping, you know, power distributors like popcorn over there. So I'm just telling you, you know, we can make excuses or we can make money. You know, and learning this objection handling is certainly going to help you make money. And then step 5 is obviously to sign them up, you know, get them done. You know, Alan Platt did an exceptional training on the system just last week, and I was taking notes on that one. In fact, as soon as it was over, I asked if they could send me the PowerPoint because I wanted to train on that one because he had such great slides on there. But you know, when you think about, you got a 7-minute video, and then you install the Sherlock on the person's computer, and then you have them look at the 24-minute video, and at that point sign them up and or get them on a 3-way call. And you said and or, what I mean by that is even if the person signs up, I would still put them on a three-way call with your upline, just so that that person can reinforce what they've done, reinforce the support they're going to get. In fact, I've always been a proponent that when you get a new person in the business, that you let them talk to 3 people that are in your organization so that they'll know that they're in the business for themselves, but not by themselves. They've got a whole team of people that's going to work with them. Now, I'm going to just kind of read through this because this is the story of the boomerang, and I want you to see why I actually use the boomerang. In years past, the Aborigine hunters used them for a different reason. Now, many people today use them from a recreational standpoint, you know, not as a weapon, but as a form of manipulation to get what they wanted, namely food for their families. When the Aborigine hunters would come upon a tree full of birds, they would throw a boomerang just above the top of the tree. On its return, the boomerang would hit the tree from the opposite side, scaring the birds out of the tree and directing them into the nets of the waiting hunters. I like that story. By using this same approach to handle objections, you will net results in the form of new distributors. And the key thing here is this: building this business is rewarding, fun, exciting, and yes, challenging. It is easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. I just kind of put that in there for you. The more you practice these 5 steps, the more you increase your skills. The entire process becomes easy. You can't beat them up or pressure them into the business, nor do you want to. Remember, a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. So because you twist their arm behind their backs and you say, hey, this thing is going to work for you, that's not going to get them to get busy. You know, what's going to get them to get busy, again, if you have to pressure them or convince them to get in, then you'll have to pressure or convince them to work. And you don't need projects like that to slow you down. What's not happening in the Philippines and some of these other areas with them turning all of these power distributors is they're not confusing the issue. You know, they're using the system. They're allowing the system to do the heavy lifting. Again, objection handling is the next level. You know, it's the next level, and we have to train you on that next level, because as the organization grows, you're going to be going to the power distributor, the global power distributor, Diamond, and so then you're going to be the person that's going to be getting these calls, and you have to be able to address the objections. You have to have a sensitive listening skill, and you have to be able to understand that, hey, I've heard this before, but let me hear the way they're saying it so I can get exactly what their concerns are, so that we can get more people engaged in this amazing business. So, hey, Frazier, that's pretty much all I've got for you, my friend, and I wish all of you happy hunting.
Ormond, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Guys, how amazing is Ormond? He's so good. We're so privileged to have someone over in America. Don't forget there's a time difference, so it's earlier on over there. You know, it's just great. Thank you so much, Ormond. Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing, really. Everybody on this webinar now has to understand that they are in so early in Shopping Sherlock. And I mean so early. Next year, you watch what happens. We won't be saying there's 9 power distributors in the 15 in like the last week go power. We'll be saying there's 9 globals, 9 diamonds. Next year is going to be absolutely pivotal with this. You need to capitalize today, this week, this month, the rest of this year. Start now, and you just watch what happens. And I can't express how like massive next year is going to be. It's going to be huge. There's going to be meetings all over the world. There's going to be probably, you know, Michael traveling around. I'm going to be traveling around. My dad's going to travel around. Some of the leaders here in the UK are going to be traveling around. There's obviously going to be massive meetings in America as well. So, you know, make sure you're on the stage as one of these leaders. What's the point in being involved now and next year everyone in overtaking you? Don't get left behind. This business waits for no one. So, you know, get building it and let's go. Next Tuesday is going to be another important webinar. We're going to have another special guest from the UK Global Power Distributor as well. He's going to be covering some awesome training that you all want to, you probably none of you have heard of it about it yet. So you'll really want to be on that. He's a really good speaker. He runs a lot of our webinars as well. So you want to be on that as well. And again, just talking about the event on the 24th and 25th of November in the UK Leadership Weekend. If you're in, you know, a few hours flight distance, you want to come, because that's going to be the first time we ever get to see Michael Weeder over this part of the world. So, go on the destination dining site, right in the top middle, it says major event. Click on that button and you'll see all the details. And thank you very much to Ormond again, and thank you very much for listening. My time's up. See you next week. Bye-bye.